additional clarity from the agency before filing the Type A meeting request. Subsequently, as we commented on in our prepared remarks, that we have received the established the EIR and additional feedback from the agency, which is going to guide sort of the submission of the Type A meeting request. We continue to feel really good about the responses that we provided to the 483, but this will allow us to target more of those responses. At this point, we're not going to get into sort of surmising anything or getting into sort of a play-by-play with the agency. We do feel like the Type A meeting is the point where we plan to get more clarity from the agency, and we'll provide more context and color at that time. On the consultant side of it, we feel, first off, really good with the responses that we provided to the 483s. We were frankly surprised that we didn't have any communication from the agency along that journey, and so receipt of the CRL in response to our 483 responses was disappointing and surprising. Given that, however, and the sort of the importance of getting our product on market as soon as possible, we've certainly continued to leverage the external experts that we've used along this entire BLA journey, and have sought out additional experts and advisors along the way to make sure that we are getting the benefit of the latest information and the best information that's out there. And so, again, this is number one priority. We're looking at sort of all different avenues to try and get our products onto the market as soon as possible. And again, with this additional information, it's allowed us to refine our Type A meeting request.
Thanks, Mark. Okay, continue. Good luck in the process.
Thank you.
And our next question is from David Amsellem of Piper Sandler. Your line is open.
Hey, thanks. So just a couple on the CRL and the path forward here. So, the FDA action was essentially delayed for almost a year due to pandemic-related constraints. So I wanted to ask you, to the extent that you can answer this, assuming the agency is going to have to go back into the facility and do an inspection, is the pandemic in any way factor into your calculation regarding turnaround time? And how should we think about that? And maybe do you have any sort of feedback from the FDA as to what their constraints are right now, since that has been a consideration in the past? So that's number one. And then number two is, with these kind of processes, with consultants, internal consultants, external consultants, et cetera, do you have a sense of what kind of spend you might need, or additional spend, if you will, to get to a point where you have all your ducks in a row in terms of manufacturing? And maybe you don't know the answer to that. Maybe that's post Type A meeting. But can you just help us understand, just at least qualitatively, what your thoughts are there? Thanks.
Sure. So first, David, on your question around the CRL and the path forward and any impacts from the pandemic, again, I get sort of the desire for clarity, and even internally, we're trying to make sure that we're being as transparent as we can. But I think given where we are, what we want to make sure is that when we do communicate, we communicate with certainty and clarity. And so right now we'd be speculating further as to whether or not there'd be pandemic-related issues in terms of timing. Again, we believe that the best way to get clarity on this is through a Type A meeting. Obviously, the sooner we can get that clarity, the better. And once we get that, I think we'll be able to lay out with a lot more certainty exactly what the path forward is going to be and what it's going to take. On the consultant side of it, in terms of spend and manufacturing and everything else, we talked earlier about sort of the priorities that we've laid out. It's getting approval, it's delivering on the RHA revenue, and continuing to drive adoption of the OPUL platform while being judicious with our spend. And so, we believe we've got the right plan in place, and we'll resource all of those appropriately to make sure that we continue to not lose momentum and deliver on those key priorities for the company.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And our next question is from Seamus Fernandez of Guggenheim. Your line is open.
Oh, great. Thanks for the question. So just a couple of quick ones. I'll move beyond the CRL. but wanted to just get a sense of how the trajectory for the RHA fillers you feel is likely to continue into the fourth quarter and into next year. It sounds like there's high conviction that continued growth will be there, but it was our understanding that DAXI was also sort of a forward use opportunity for some of your key physicians. So is the goal next year to really broaden out the RHA account number